Good morning, everyone. Can people hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can.
Oh, got it. Sorry, I was having some trouble getting my phone unmuted. Apologies for the bridge difficulties this morning, for the late start to our monthly Magma community meeting. There are still a couple of people that appear to be joining in. So I'm going to give it another minute or two before we start. Appreciate your patience. In the meantime, can I confirm that my screen share is working?
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So we'll just give it maybe 1 or 2 more minutes. Okay, I don't see anyone else in the waiting room, so we can probably get started. Welcome to the May Magma Community Q&A session. These sessions are intended as just an open Q&A. Pretty much any topic related to Magma, introductory or otherwise, and direction to help people find some more depth of engagement with the rest of the project. So for this morning's call, we're just going to give a review of the Magma ecosystem, a very quick project status. I'm going to give a quick update on our project technical steering committee and technical advisory committee as they've ramped up over the last couple of months, and talk about what they are and how we can engage with them and use them to help the community. A reminder about the various engagement opportunities that are available on the project, and then the bulk of the time we'll spend in an open Q&A. And it looks like we have a very small, tight group this morning. So hopefully we'll have some time to answer the questions that you may have regarding the project. So just a quick reminder, the Magma ecosystem really exists to enable an open source telco, hoping to catalyze an open source 5G movement, and with the long-term goal to dramatically reduce the total cost of ownership for advanced wireless networks, and in doing that, help bring more people online to a better internet experience. Over the last month or so, since our last project update, we did complete the release 1.5 of Magma. As we talked about in our last call, the release notes are published. You can find them at the link here in our GitHub, or you can look on the magmacore.org blog for a pointer to the release notes. Might be a little easier to remember than the long URL. And we wanted to let everyone know that the team is planning to do a bug fix release 151 at the end of May. It actually has several significant performance improvements that were added shortly after 1.5 was released. And the 1.6 release is on track for the end of June. 1.6 has significant performance and scale improvement, support for cloud deployments of the full stack of Magma, and also will include the 5G standalone fixed wireless minimum viable core alpha release. And And it is a very early release of that code. There are still some things that would make a fully functional fixed wireless access 5G system that will come after that release, but we wanted to stop the waiting that's out there and get that code released. There are a few other features included in 1.6 or planned for 1.6, and we'll do a more complete review of that during the June meeting, much closer to that release when we can confirm what will or won't land in the 1.6 release. Wanted to speak for a minute with some project management discussion about our technical steering committee and the technical architecture committee, the TSC and the TAC, that are part of the open governance structure that the Magma project has put together in coordination with the Linux Foundation. The TSC really is making all technical decisions regarding the project that are primarily, near-term, tactical, practical, process-related decisions. They're also approving proposals for the project and the near-term direction of what will land and not land in each release, et cetera. And the TSC is made up of 5 elected representatives from the project code owners. And the code owners are the members of the project who have the ability to approve pull requests or actually approve and merge changes into the code base. So when people contribute code to Magma, it would be reviewed by one of the code owners, and that code owner's review is required in order to merge the code into the project. And they have elected 5 of their members. These are 5 that have a long history of being significant contributors to the project and well respected. And they are Hunter Gatewood, who serves as the TSC chair, Marie Bremner, Raphael Defaso, Praveen Shalar, and Scott Moeller. And across this group, we've actually covered most of the time zones, daylight around the world, with representatives that travel back and forth from India and France on the West Coast and East Coast of the US. And they hold a weekly Zoom-based meeting that's held at noon on Mondays. It is an open meeting. Of course, the 5 TSC members are the voting members of the TSC, but it is open for discussion and dialogue. It's frequent, so it's short. It's held to about a half hour, and they agenda their items through proposals that are issued, proposals that are submitted as GitHub issues, tagged as TSC proposals. So if you have an issue that you want to bring to the TSC for a vote or review, you can open an issue and label it for the TSC, and they should be able to respond to that issue during their next meeting. And then finally, if you just have general questions or things that you want to discuss with the TSC, there is an open Slack channel called Governance TSC AMA, where AMA stands for Ask Me Anything, where you can bring issues to the TSC. For longer term vision or strategic vision of the project, Magma has also established a technical architecture committee, or a TAC. And the TAC is considered an advisory board helping the TSC and helping the project set strategic vision about large-scale direction of the project. And we're actually proud to have been able to bring in some industry leaders who are proven visionaries in the space of software-defined networks and wireless networking, as well as people who are leaders of the Magma program. And we start with Amar, who is essentially the founding member of Magma. It was his vision that brought Magma to bear, serving as the chair. Bruce Davey and Martine Casado, who have long history in industry and academia on the topic of software-defined networks, were also the founders of Nicera, which was one of the first large-scale deployments of software-defined networking, later purchased by VMware, and really strong voices for the future direction of networking. And Brian Barrett, who is the Facebook technical manager, software engineering manager, supporting the engineer or leading the engineers who support Magma. And he also has a long history with non-terrestrial networking or satellite-based voice and data networking, coming from Google's Loon project and others. And he is hoping to take the Magma project into supporting some aspects of non-terrestrial networking, and more importantly, coordinated radio management in the form of non-real-time and real-time RIC, or radio interface controllers. And then finally, we've also invited Professor Jan Rexford, who's chair of the computer science department at Princeton, and also a Grace Hopper Award winner for work done in the space of software-defined networking. So this is actually a very strong leadership committee who will be meeting monthly and talking with the team about long-term direction and where Magma should go. And we're very excited to have such a powerful group. Their meetings are currently set to be ad hoc, and they will be announced when they occur. So lastly, I wanted to talk about our engagement opportunities. All of these are listed on the Magma public calendar, and Kendall has put a link to the public calendar in the chat for this meeting. Appreciate that, Kendall. But the three main engagement opportunities on Mondays at 8:30 to 9:30 Pacific time, ULOS leads a gateway development session working on issues related to the access gateway itself, which is the primary development meeting for Magma. On Wednesdays, and Kendall, correct me, this meeting is now bi-weekly, is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, and it is reflected as bi-weekly in the project calendar. The DevOps and CI team meet from 9 to 10 a.m. Pacific time. And on Thursdays, there's a more general topic, Magma engineering meeting from 8:30 to 9:30. Again, all of these are in Pacific time. They're open to all comers, and they are announced shortly before the meeting on the Slack channel through a calendar bot in the calendar channel of the Magma Slack, with a reminder for the Zoom links to join. And these are actually the best ways to engage with the project. So before we enter the Q&A, just a couple reminders. of how to find everything. The Magma Core website is probably the very first entry point for most activities. You can get pointers and links to everything about Magma from there. You can find the code at github.com/magma/magma. A bit repetitive, but there are some other Magma related repositories there as well. And then finally, with the abbreviated link, this is a self-enrollment link to the Magma Slack so that you can join the active communication on the Magma Slack channel. And just a real quick check, the Magma Slack has become quite active and is receiving hundreds of posts a day from what is now over 1,300 users who have joined the Slack. So it is a very dynamic community. And with that, I want to go ahead and open to Q&A for the team. Now we do have a very small group of people here today. And unfortunately, I don't see any of the Magma code owners who have joined. So I will field any questions that are here, and if I have to, get them redirected as appropriate. So the floor is yours.
Hi, this is Shubham. So I have a question. In one of your project status update slides, there was a section for cloud deployments. In 1.6, yes, this one. In release 1.6, it says cloud deployments. Like, what does that mean?
In 1.6, the AWS-based full stack of Magma that was discussed in February at the Magma developers meeting, and several early releases of it have been shared and talked about by Arun from the project, will be formally introduced into the project as part of the Magma code base.
So cloud mean like right now in terms of code, I have only seen like most of the deployment focus is on AWS. So will that be the case in future?
So the first iteration is based on AWS, but there is project intent to extend that to other cloud providers. We've received interest regarding Google Cloud and some other cloud environments as well. But
okay,
for 1.6, I believe it's focused on AWS.
Okay. Understood. Thanks.
Yeah. So anything else?
I have a question kind of slightly related to cloud deployments, actually. Is there any guidance on like how one would run something in the cloud that was Magma, but that was maybe more lightweight, just for hacking around? I know we have the local one, but like the monthly run rate for just like running the Magma stuff is a little high for just like, you know, hobbyist hacking. Do you have any idea of like what would be a good way to mitigate that?
Yeah, and that was Ricky. Can you introduce yourself just a little bit before I answer?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Ricky Medina. My day job is I work at GitHub on very unrelated things, but I've gotten a friend of mine have grown some interest in Magma, basically because he has very limited connectivity at his home in kind of remote Canada. So we've just been playing around with it, and we've set up instances and.
Oh, very good. Very good. That's fabulous. Glad to have you join us. Ricky, Arun, who is leading the AWS integration, is very well aware that the burden of running Magma in AWS in its current incarnation is a bit high. And part of that is because it was a raw port of Magma to the cloud. And they are working on ways to try to reduce that cost burden and run rate attached to running Magma. But I can't give you a very clear answer on what that revised cost structure or burden would be. In the meantime, you can contact Arun directly, and on the Magma Slack, I think, oh, I can't see it right away. But I believe if you look in the Magma Slack, that one of the channels, there's gotten to be too many for me to scan quickly. One of the channels is related to the cloud deployments, and you could actually raise the question there if there is a way to reduce that burden. And I think you would likely get quick answers there. If you can't find the right channel, raise it in the general channel on the Slack, and I'll get it directed to the right people who can help you.
Awesome, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, just to help Ricky out, Ricky, I have also deployed Magma on a bare metal server and also on a local environment using Minikube and Kind Kubernetes cluster. If you're interested in that, I can help you out.
That would actually probably be helpful. Are you also on the Slack?
Yes, I'm on the Slack.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, and Ricky, just to point out, the compute burden of Magma is quite low. A very lightweight 4-core Atom processor is more than sufficient to run the platform.
Yeah, so just to point it out, like when I run an entire orchestrator on my local system, it was only using 3 GB of RAM and it was barely using some CPU.
Yeah, I figured you could probably just run something more like the development version in the cloud as well. Just
Yeah,
hadn't
absolutely.
taken the initiative, yeah.
Absolutely. Okay, others. Okay, well, if there are no other questions, I think that the Q&A call can probably be wrapped up a little bit early. I'll make one last call before we close. And
Yeah, I have a question, maybe not directly related, but yeah, are we using ONAP somewhere in Magma? And if yes, then how we are actually utilizing that?
that's actually a great question, Shubham. We are not actively using ONAP as part of the Magma project today. So the direct answer to your question is no. The larger context answer to that question is that with Magma joining the Linux Foundation, and the Linux Foundation is putting together a program called the Linux Foundation 5G Super Blueprint. Very grand language, but their intent is to take all of the related projects from LF projects that tie together to form a more complete vision of what a 5G network would be, including Magma, including ONAP, including Acrino, including several other of their of their projects, primarily from LF networking, into a single blueprint of how you can deploy advanced wireless networks. And as part of that, and it's very early days, really it's nothing more than an early discussion today, the adapter to use Magma as a network controller under ONAP is being described so that you can take ONAP control to the Magma orchestrator's API and stitch them together as one network. So if you want to take a look at the LF Linux Foundation 5G Super Blueprint, you'll find an outline for what the projects jointly plan for tying that together. Again, it is very, very early days on that work. So short answer to your question is no, we're not tied in with ONAP. Longer term, larger context answer is that work is just kicking off.
Okay, so in future, so I've seen that blueprint in here. They are showing like orchestration. In the orchestration part, ONAP will be used, and Magma will be the core of everything.
That is the intent of the super blueprint. Again, that diagram and how that will work is still pretty fungible and work in progress. And that team is also holding open planning meetings every other Tuesday. So if you want to look on their website, you could actually join into that activity and help guide it if that was of interest.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else? Well, I don't want to keep people tied to a call prematurely. I'll just note, Shabam, Kendall did kindly, or you did, put the link to the super blueprint in the chat. I just noticed someone did. I don't want to keep anyone unnecessarily. So unless there are any more questions, I'll go ahead and say thank you for joining us. Have a great morning or evening, afternoon, depending on where you're at in the world, and look forward to engaging with you further on Magma. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.